Namaskar. Namaskar. I'm Kumar Rakesh.
Namaskar.
You're watching Global Governance News TV. Today we're going to discuss Corona and education. What the impact of Corona on education system. However, just children suffers from this coronavirus. If you see I'll just go the details on that how the corona is affecting and affected the either India and globally. This is also we can see this may be the curse for you. More than 1 billion children are at risk of the behind due to school closures aimed at the containing the spread of COVID-19. To keep the world children learning, countries have been implementing remote education program. Already digital program was going on previously, but now in the corona phases, how we have suffered, has many other world children, particularly those in the poorer household, don't have the internet access, personal computers, TVs, even radio at home, amplifying the effects of the existing learning inequality. The students lacking access to the techniques needed for the home-based learning have limited means to continue their education. As a result, many face the risk of never returning to school, undoing years of progress made in education around the world. With the school closures across 188 countries as of April 20 data is and the 21 we can see just the Choudhary data. Many of them are exploring alternative ways to provide continuous education using technology such as internet, TV, radio. However, because this technology is limited and many low and middle income countries, especially among the poor household. But according to recent report, 51 countries have opened their schools and colleges just for taking the all precautions to fight COVID, the mask and the social distancing, all. And more than 90% of countries adopted digital and the broadcast remote learning policy. Only 60% of did so pre-primary education. Policy measures taken by the governments to ensure learning continuity through the broadcast or digital media allowed to potentially reaching 69% of school children at maximum pre-primary to secondary education globally. 31% of school children worldwide, 463 million, this is approx data we can say, cannot be reached by the broadcast and internet-based remote learning either due to lack of necessary technologies assets at home or because they are not targeted by the adopted policy by the concerned government of the country. Online platforms were the most used means by the government to deliver education while the schools remain closed. Well, with 83% of countries using the method, however, they allowed to potentially reaching only about a quarter of school children worldwide. Television had the potential to reach the most students globally, 62%. Good data. And 16% school children could be reached by the radio-based learning worldwide. As we have seen that in India, that Bharat, our Prime Minister, how just using the radio and just pick the uh, just radio listening data is very high now with Man Ki Baat. So globally, 3 out of 4 students who cannot reach by the remote learning policy come from rural areas and going to poorest hold. But according to data, if we the statement see that estimated by our Union Finance Minister last January, so uh, according to data 2018, the use of a smartphone has been increased threefold. If the 80 lakhs, now 54 lakhs. So this is a data varied how just you see and how the policy, how the education view we can see and how and just as perspective on India also how we are just doing in India and how we'll go with the impact on the education for the uh, just we see the how the India we are just facing the Indian education system. So matures both urban and rural areas. Midday meal is also a matter of instruction for the schools. And if Indian government also announced lockdown, but so many policies simultaneously they have done, and how the overall objective. Some one of the persons have analyzed impact of COVID-19 on Indian education system. So on the facing how the facing highlighting the role played by the teachers and students, so many problems also faced by teachers and students, and how the positive impact He full the student parents, school teachers. Many teachers had I have interviewed, they have already just said they have just tried to learn the new technology to teach the concerned students, either in the primary classes and the higher secondary and as well some colleges also. How to reduce the negative impact? This is also increasing just stress and different type of stress has been. So I just invited Dr. Rajesh Sharma to how cope with the stress for the student. And so we have the panel is Dr. R.B. Bhatt from the Germany, Hamburg, and he is educationist, a scholar, and already keep an eye in education system, either India and Germany. We have Dr. Rajesh Sharma, he is medico, MBBS, MS, and very keen, just keen on eye how the students are just facing the problem. And Vandana Jhingan from Chicago, USA. She is a journalist and social activist also has been doing a lot of work to fight the corona for the society, for the global society, and as well as the Indian society as an Indian American. So I'll start with today the Dr. R.P. Bhatt, Ram Bhatt, how just you analyze the whole the impact of corona on education system, either in Germany, globally, and as well as India. Thank you.
Many thanks, Rakesh, for inviting me to this such a wonderful topic and to your talk. It's really a very, very important topic to me also personally, since I'm a teacher myself. So when this problem started, of course, we were confronted with many, many problems. Even you must remember, Germany is one of the most developed countries, and still we had a lot of problems here. First, nobody knew how to cope with it, where to start. Secondly, not everybody was can tackle with the, for example, computers. Third, the people, the parents, those who were working, they had all of a sudden they had problems because they had to take care of their children and they also had to do their work. Fourth, the children, of course, they are used to to go out and to meet other children and play, or at the university level, of course, also to have discussion, open discussions, to work. All these problems came all of a sudden, and then of course financial problems were also there. So it took some time till people could first of all grasp that and then also find some kind of solutions to that. We ourselves at the University of Hamburg, we were also not so well prepared, I must say. And we had to then, start with Zoom. And slowly, of course, it was pretty quick to to gain the access to various materials, and online problems were solved, computers and were also given to people those who didn't have that. But the students, of course, if they cannot afford a laptop, for example, or they don't have internet properly, then it was a problem. And many people, of course, dropped out due to this problem. But on the other hand, it also brought some kind of new challenges, but also opportunities. I think this is the same story all over the world. Of course, the case of India is a bit different because in India, I imagine, and I heard also from my colleagues or even my nephews and nieces, those who are living in Uttarakhand, they faced a lot of problems because not everywhere we have internet access, and towers, the connectivity is not there, and also not everyone has in India computer. I mean, even if in Germany a student, all students can have that, where I mean almost all you have a good life here. And then imagine in India, I think we really need to go into depth, but still, I think the government of India managed it pretty well.
Yeah.
Given the size of the population, then the geography itself, and apart from that, of course, the parents, not knowing not having exact information about this, especially in the villages. And I think Indian society has the positive side. That is because they kind of take it on themselves, on their own shoulders. They are giving lot, everything for their children. They are doing everything. And in the villages, of course, the children are growing up differently than in the plains of India, for example, big towns, and they are used to that. But of course, the problems were there, and I think we have now a new kind of, we're confronted with the methods also, how to produce, what kind of teaching material, for example. Because, for example, language teaching, you can do it online, but it is not same if you do it in physically in the classroom. It is totally different because the speech is different, sound system can be different, and then also if something breaks down or the connectivity goes down, then you cannot read it or you cannot hear it. So in this case, if you are doing classes, for example, descriptive literature or political science, or I think where you can read, then there I think that was even better because the students had more time, they could save time. Even I myself, I mean, we saved a lot of time because of that we didn't have to travel. So we used that time to procure or to prepare different kind of materials. But I think all my colleagues and all over the world, I have some colleagues in the States and also in Canada or Japan. We also talk about it almost on daily, not daily basis, but once a while in 2 months, 2 weeks, and everyone has problem. But slowly, this problem is being solved. But still, I think the presence, class is different than the online class.
Okay.
And in Europe, one more thing I would like to say,
Yeah. Yeah.
that
Please.
there are various laws which probably in India are not taken so seriously. For example, if somebody don't want to show his or her face, I cannot force the student to do that.
Oh, that's was a
And
problem. Yeah.
this was also problem many times because you hear, especially when exams are taking place online, so you don't know who is actually doing the exam exactly
Oh my
because
God.
the
That's also getting
person
a problem.
because the person you
But
don't
in
know.
India, but in India, they have just that is why important and necessary just to show the face how this camera is working and the laptop and how they have just adopted a very transparent way. I think in Germany, I think you are saying it may be so
No,
not
no,
showing
it
the
is,
face.
sir, it is the law of the European Union. It is the right of the person to show his or her face or not.
Oh
Because
my right to privacy. I think they implies there
yes,
on the study also. But that should
exactly.
not. Especially they should take the note by the school authority. By the way, Vandana ji, how just you see, Dr. Bhatt, how they don't the show a face and giving the exam? Do you think this is a good as for the students and for the study and education?
See,
Is there anything in the law privacy also that imminent in the USA? So how
yes,
do you differentiate and analyze?
yes, absolutely. We do have the same thing. But the parents are very unhappy. Kids used to log in, means the school starts in the morning at 7 o'clock. They just log in, but they are not there. They're just playing around. So it is like, because this education, everyone has suffered in every field, to be honest, with this corona. It
Yeah.
has, this is now we are living in the new world. I'm being very honest with you. When we talk about resources, as he already mentioned, even here also, that Google started as a pilot project giving Chromebooks to the students, but it's not everywhere. And even poverty is here in US also. Don't see that like we are all living in the means like a first world, to be honest. So kids had to have a challenge of having that, because I do know that I arranged at least 4 of the Chromebooks for the students, like
Mhm.
requesting the IT guys, like you have, because you use it for some time and then you guys don't use it. So some laptops so the kids can, and I have sent few to India also, because sending into India, here procuring was not that difficult, but sending to India was very difficult because the flights were not going. and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So we try to do that. Then comes that psychological problems, like, because of slash social. When the kids go to the school, they have like a schedule which has been set. They have to get up this particular moment, they have to get ready, they have to be in the school. There are so many. Then adds on to the physical problems, because they were physically also engaged in like when they're going, they do have a sports class where their outdoor activities, but that was also curtailed. We have seen it. So that has a biggest impact. And earlier, if you're in my time, we used to be called in by the evening, come inside, andhera ho gaya. But now we have to push the kids, go outside, play, because the kids were slaves to the gadgets. And this thing has brought added more fuel to the fire, to be honest, which is like, because they have to do their homework, they have to study from 7 to 3, they have to log in. So then it is between, like, you are stuck then, to be honest. And then another thing which is very, very important, that what we noticed, this has impacted from all. Like there is lot of uh, financial burden also on the administration part of it, like, because, and then the parents were saying, why the teachers have to get the salary because they are not teaching. So that there is a problem from the teacher side also, because they are spending time studying and stuff like that. So there has
Yeah.
been a lot of controversies during this, but the education sector has definitely suffered, and the impact is going to be long term, number one, and that cannot be forgotten. Number two, because the damage what they have faced for over 1.5 year period, psychological. They always say 1 day in the hospital is equal to 3 days of your outside. So that
Okay.
is all, like, because it's going to be building up more, and we will see more psychiatrist problems, and psychologist has to deal it. We do have Dr. Rajesh Sharma. He may be knowing. He must have been discussing with his fraternity
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
all is coming up now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So nice. Just the impact of teacher and students. I discussed Dr. Bhatt and you also. The both teachers and students facing many hurdles during online education at the home, lack of basic facilities, external distraction, family interruption during the teaching, was a major issue noticed, and as well as some positive impact also. Develop use of soft copy in learning material, improvement of collaborative work, rise in online meetings, enhanced digital literacy, worldwide exposure, demand for open and distance learning, better time management. So, on the contrary, Rakesh Tiwari ji, how would just analyze the positive and the negative impact of this on education during the COVID-19 uh, uh, bad phase? We can say that is a no word, whatever curse for the humanity and whatever.
Well, thank you so much, Kumar Rakesh ji, for having me in this program, and such an important topic you brought. And I heard all the panelists. Let me say this: you said positive and negative,
Yeah,
both aspects of COVID on education. I'll say negate right now because of the mismanagement by, I will say, all the governments of the world, especially in education policy, because they didn't even know what to do. So that's why the positive is like we have forced our kids, okay, stay at home, and then you try to find out, and that has created a lot of negative impact. Means they cannot go out. Everybody was scared, and up to a limit, it was understandable. That okay, in the beginning the shock was there. Nobody knew what to do. Vaccine was not there, and all those things. But at the same time, I've noticed and I've watched, and my fellow panelists can agree with me. Most of the governments, when the first chance they got to open uh, uh, any institution or businesses, the first thing they did is open the bars or the places where you can buy the alcohol. That's the first thing they did. Everybody, not the school. That was not priority. The first thing. However, very interestingly, all over the world, when this COVID.
why I'm laughing? I remembering my Delhi Chief Minister Kejriwal. Just how he opened the wine shop Nonsense.
Yeah,
Please.
yeah. So let
Thank
let
you.
let let, let me come to my point. So
Yes.
even in Canada too, the governments they did it, and it's so ridiculous. That shows that, let me say, that is I do not know, but it's making me think all over the way, back to the basics. What was today's the 5th of August? What was when we you yesterday you had a, you are organized a program about the Ram Mandir. What was that
Yeah.
time? What was the aspect of what was in Hinduism and the culture? What was taught to us that a king must take must take taxes only, just like the bees they take honey from from the flower to make the honey from from the flower. That's how it's supposed to be. Now all the governments they are interested in to make money no matter what. Very interesting point. While we are talking about the alcohol abuse and use, lot of people in the beginning when there was complete shutdown and lockdown, a lot of family, women, children, they felt very happy because their abusive father, mother, whosoever was there, they were they did not get it, so they were feeling better. They could not go and get their booze, and the moment it was open, how the lineup was there and what happened afterwards. So this
Yeah.
government, they are looking at, they are watching from the eyes, they are seeing it, and they're ignoring it. And somehow media is also responsible not to press this issue
Yeah, not the proper
hard
role.
enough,
Yeah,
hard enough.
agreed, agreed,
Now
agreed,
coming back to
agreed.
the education, the negative aspect of this COVID is on the eyes and brains of children. We are human being. We are, I mean, God has not made us to sit in front of a screen all the day, a whole day. However, in our so-called development, we have developed this habit. So now, if four people are sitting together, they will not talk. They will. Everybody is busy on their phone. We know this is a reality. This is the reality. So we are creating our own world, our creating our own, means all kind of psychological problem and a lot of things. And kids, children, they are developing it too. So the first thing, as I said, the kids, the environment should be protected for the kids. Strict measures should be taken for so they can go play outside in the school. They can learn those things. The government should have taken all over the world. Means I will not say, maybe some exceptions, I do not have the record and data of it, but whatever the in media it was established, the most of the governments miserably they failed, and children's were the last priority. The first priority, everybody has it, is the business and the
Make,
booze and
making
alcohol.
revenues, making
Alcohol,
revenues.
alcohol
Yeah.
use, abuse,
So
drugs use,
other
abuse, all these
way
things.
also, alcohol also, and the priority just to take the revenue or collect the revenue.
Absolutely,
But
absolutely. But that's
yeah,
ridiculous.
but
That's
the businesses are not the
yes,
welfare of the people
businesses.
the
That's what I
concern.
said.
Yeah.
Businesses,
Uh, so
businesses. Now
that is
coming,
also
now
important part.
coming to
Yeah.
the
Please.
now coming to the positive aspect of it.
Yeah.
Let me say the most positive, which I find it, that it has made us as a parent a bit more responsible. And I hope we are getting responsible. That you are alone, yourself responsible for your children. So well-being for their education. Government has washed its hand, and even the education system has washed its hands. We have been left in the hands of the I will say education business models. Okay, so all this software company, they are coming and they are doing it. So this is the way of future. But at this way of future, I want to go back to the way of before, when the I will say Hindu education system. I'm using the word Hindu because that's how we are known now, that where students are going one place, they are in the they're in among the nature, they are learning with each other, teachers are there, and no, and the system has not having the influence or over influence on the education system, where the people they're getting practically taught, practical teaching is coming. I will not say that using the today's technology and IT facilities should be not be included. Should be included. There is a lot of good things, a lot of great things, but alone we as a parent are responsible for our children, for their well-being, and for their education. We cannot heavily rely on any government's education policy. Thank you.
So just our Dr. Rajesh Sharma just patiently listened to all of the panelists. Now the turn of Dr. Rajesh Sharma, and how just many cases how the Vandana ji also stated, and Dr. Ram Bhatt also say, and Rakesh Tiwari ji, there is impact of the children as well as teachers also. The stress, some psychological problems also has been reported and growing day by day. How to cope with and how to control it, how just uh, medicate them, how think just Rajesh. Unmute yourself, please.
Are you able to listen me?
Yeah. Now okay. Now okay. Yeah, please.
Ah, that restricting the school and children had to remain at home, like everything was working from home. It was because of pandemic, and it was part of controlling the pandemic that we had to restrict everything, business, study, everything. So it was a part of controlling the pandemic. So there was no other way. The only motive to restrict the children was because we didn't know anything about the disease. So first, to protect the children also, because actually disease affected all the age groups almost equally. But definitely in the first two waves, what we saw was that children, they were there less chance to get a severe form of disease. And but other problem was, people were suspecting that expecting was that if children goes to school, they can bring they may not be having a disease, severe disease themselves, but they may carry the disease to a home to affect the other family members. So everything that all caused the restriction of the school for the benefit and for the everybody. It was the important part of that control of pandemic and lockdown. So we couldn't have done without it. So definitely it has affected all the walk of life. Similarly, the education also. Now in India, what everybody other people staying outside, they might not be knowing that recently the CBSE result of 12th class has been declared without any exam. Yeah,
That is
without
also
any exam.
matter of
Ah,
tension. Yeah.
yeah, without any exam. So definitely it has affected children staying at home. Definitely they cannot get the same education and everything what they would have got at their school. But there was no other way. Definitely everything was gradually tried to open up and to start. Then the online teaching and everything was started just to continue everything, so that. But definitely in the long run, these 2 years will cause a bad patch in the lives of everybody. uh,
Yeah.
Everybody in all the profession. Similarly for the patient also, for the students also. But everybody, as a doctor, we say that we have just to survive and sail this period safely, so that we in the hope that a time may come after few months or so. I am teaching, I am telling my children that all the pandemic, they lasted for at least for 2 years. So just wait patiently for 2 years. So definitely we have already more than 1.5 years we have passed through this pandemic. So definitely the part of stress, what we were saying, that definitely children are not being allowed to go outside and to mingle with their friends and all. Definitely it affects a lot to their psyche. But Dr. Mr. Tiwari, what he was saying, that definitely earlier also it was a problem that people, children were kids were more indulged with the gadgets, and it was affecting negatively. And by due to this pandemic and study also going to through that way, definitely it was a thing which we couldn't have avoided. But the positive thing also is there, that it may start a beginning that future education may also it will show the way how the future education may be going to take place. The this online teaching and classes may have a very big role in the future time to come for the student, for the kids. The positive aspect for the kids was that definitely they stayed at home. We are also feeling that there was a great bonding between the parents and kids, we didn't find earlier. Even parents didn't have time to interact with the children and all. But now this pandemic something has given a nice thing to us, that we have been able to bond, have a better bond, and good time spent with our children, which we never thought of. That is a positive thing, but definitely, and there is something we have to lose to gain something. For the survival, we had to stay home. Definitely, the social aspect, the kids' social behavior and all definitely has got affected because of their outdoor activities, outdoor games, everything definitely has. But thinking that at least it will for the, it is all, everything is for the survival. So
Yeah.
definitely when we come out, the dawn will come, this the sunrise will come
So
someday.
yeah,
Definitely
yeah,
we will restart everything with the many good things which we have learned during this pandemic, apart from being somebody might have got affected and everything. Definitely, I think we hope for the brighter things in the future. But definitely, psyche, that is inevitable. So definitely, only parents are in the direct contact with the children, so that they can only help to interact more and more with the children, and keep them indulged in activities which
yeah,
they
yeah. So,
like book.
okay, okay, doctor, I also take you from you. I just welcome Professor Ujjwal Choudhary.
Uh-huh.
He just education and columnist and the former pro VC of the RMS University and MIT universities and Symbiosis universities and long experience in education and media and mass communication. So thanks this you spare time to join us. So just
Thank
I
you.
already Dr. Ram Bhatt is from Hamburg, Germany, and Rakesh Tiwari is from Canada, Vandana is from the Chicago, Dr. Raj Sharma is medical from India,
Hello.
and now Professor Ujjwal Chaudhary. So how just you analyze this pandemic and the impact of
Right.
pandemic on education?
First of all, let me note that UNESCO in December 2020 said that only 48% of Indian students out of 283 million, that is 28 crores 30 lakh students, only 48% have got some online education. 52% completely went out of online because there was the digital divide. They could not be accommodated in online education, and that does not hold great news for the country. Yes, we teachers have tried our best. When doctors were saving the world, we were trying to shape the world. But in spite of our best efforts, we opened our bedrooms and home and drawing rooms and everything through the camera for talking to the students, to the parents and all. In spite of all best efforts, due to digital divide, a little more than half of the youngsters could not come into education. And after pandemic, a good number of youngsters, children, particularly girl children, they would not be returning to education. They would have gone out of education forever. So this is indeed an educational emergency situation. I understand the pandemic health concerns were extreme, but now gradually with COVID restrictions and COVID appropriate behavior, maybe for 2 or 3 days for each batch, there has to be opening up of the schools and colleges. I was talking to Assam Education Minister at 4 p.m. today in another show for a channel, and he said that September 1, they are opening up their education. Telangana and Andhra Pradesh have also taken decision. So gradually, except some states, 8 states are having high positivity rate, but the rest of the country can take decision of opening up campuses. That's one point. Second point, the good part is that what would have happened in 15 years has happened in 15 months. The awareness of digital
Yeah,
technology though was very low among the larger percentage of the people. Today, even a bhajiwala's child is also now aware of digital technology in education. So that is the good part. So I am in all favor for blended education. In blended education, maybe 2 or 3 days physical and 2 or 3 days or 4 days, three days at least
on digital. That's one. And theoretical or conceptual part can be digital, but practical, group work, peer learning, assignment based, field assignment, this can all be digital. It can be all physical. So conceptual learning digital, practical learning, group learning, peer based assignments, or field work, this can be physical. So going ahead, blended will be the case. I would also like to note, why should, even for going to a cinema hall to watch a film, we do research. We ask our friends just to spend 300 rupees and 3 hours. We do research about the film. Why do we not, our children do not do any research when they come to school or college, for which they're spending 10 hours, 8 hours, 7 hours a day, and for which in private institutions they spend average of 1,000 or 1,200 rupees a day. So there has to be flipped classroom system by which a mentor, first of all, I don't want to use the word teacher. Teacher speaks the last word. Teacher interprets the syllabus and sets the question and evaluates. But mentor does not speak the last word. Today we are entering into an era of mentor, who is a philosopher, guide, and aggregates knowledge for the learners. And students should be replaced by learners, because self-learning is becoming more critical in the digital world. So going ahead, the point that I would like to note here, I'm sorry that I joined at the end, because I'm inside a television channel. We were in a panel discussion on the channel, physical discussion. So my point I was telling is that flipped classroom, in which the mentors supply or contribute their proprietary learning resources and aggregated learning resources from YouTube, books, and other sources in advance, including online courses, in advance online, so that the learner can see, watch, or read this content before physically or digitally meeting in the classroom. This culture of flipped classroom was already there abroad, particularly in management schools, and even in India in the IIMs and IITs. But larger part of education in the country did not use flipped classroom, which now it should be. Then aided further expansion of discussion through WhatsApp groups, through Google Classroom, through LMS, Learning Management System. In our university, we use Canvas, which is an international learning management system. There is Collaborate, there is Blackboard, there is TCSIN, several learning management systems. We need to, and there is a new Atmanirbhar Bharat learning management system that has come, SERA technology, SERRA. So EdTech, education technology, is helping in aggregating this knowledge and sharing with the learners in advance before the classroom. And the classroom can be digital or physical. But only digital will have low emotional intelligence, will have low connect between the mentor and the learner, and will not help in growth, the collective growth or bonding among the learners. So these are challenges of Corona period education. There is a health emergency, no doubt. This examination from remote practically is a profession, or is a mockery of real education, a real examination. Examination can be different types. If distance education, from a remote, if there is an examination done, it should be non-Googleable questions, applied and analytical, questions, applied and analytical, which can be open book exam. But then apart from that, multiple ways of evaluation is required. And when someone learns something and you evaluate, it is called formative evaluation. When a course is completed and you evaluate, it is called summative evaluation. Both formative and summative is required in the times to go. So I conclude that while pandemic has thrown a big challenge on education, and there is an educational emergency where more than half the children in India are not in formal education, and a small percentage will never return to education even when it opens up. On the other hand, there are positives of flipped classroom, blended learning, getting technological transformation, getting into online learning and interacting online. These were not there. It would have taken 15 years. Normally, it had been quickened in the last 15 months. However, we all need to understand the digital divide has to be bridged. The 2% CSR that is being spent by the corporates for society has to be spent for digital connectivity. New education policy talks about 6% of the GDP or the annual budget for education, which is great. I really appreciate the government for that. But practically only 3% is being spent so far. So let the 6% be spent. And you and me, we can contribute by donating old mobiles, old laptops to those who really need. There has to be a national movement. Roti, kapda, makan, Siksha or Swast. These 5 things are necessary for a dignified life. Now there is a 6th need, digital access, digital connectivity. Please look into that as an individual, as a part of the government, as a part of the corporate. At every level, individual social responsibility, corporate social responsibility, and government social responsibility, all the three should combine to bridge the digital divide, to make education reach in a blended mode to the last child at the end of the road. Thank you.
So nice of you, just Professor Ujjwal Chaudhary. Just you stated just for the focus, the last child of the country and for the nation and for the villages. So how will connect? But there is a problem in India, that is a Bharat. You know, we know how the poor connectivity. There is a survey and reports we have how the internet access. But we can't blame the India also. But Rakesh Tiwari sitting in Toronto, there is also connectivity problem. But America is not facing the problem. Sometimes Germany. This is a global phenomena also. There's also
Right.
there's a matter of concern about the internet connectivity problem. There are so many good and bad. Just as you discussed in elaborate manner. I'm coming to Tiwari ji. So, Dr. Bhatt, how that Professor Ujjwal Chaudhary that briefed and just elaborated the problems and just a breeze, how to connectivity with the digitalize the education. How do you just think like that and in context of the Germany and India?
Thanks, Rakesh. Yes. Well, as I always say, we are comparing two different worlds.
Yeah.
If I compare Germany with India, it will not lead you to much, I mean, to nowhere in my understanding.
Yeah.
First of all, you need to understand Germany is a very small country. Our infrastructure is robust. It's very well developed, and almost all, everybody has access to education. Though there are also many dropouts. So it's not only in India, as Professor Ujjwal is saying, 52% Kundo. I can attest that also in Germany, not only at the school level, but at the university level, there was a lot of dropouts. A big number of people dropped out, and they will also not come back. So don't think that it's only happening in India, first of all. Secondly, in India, the infrastructure is much worse. It's very worse. I mean, think what the politicians did in the past. In my village, in Uttarakhand, where I come from, the road came there only in 2010. And of course, slowly they are developing. But also then you need to understand that in India, the population, almost about 69 or 68% of population in India is living in the rural area, not in urban. You have only 30% of the population living in urban India. So the problems are different. What is good, of course, that India can learn. And apart from that, also the population, the size of population in India, plus the religious problems that you have within your educational system. This is not in Germany. We don't have that problem. In Germany, the law of the land prevails, and what the teacher says, that is a must. No leader, nobody can interfere in my decision. This is not happening in India. So, of course, there are differences, but there is a positive side that the Indian society has. The Indian society the family system is so robust that it functions as a kind of, a psychological, healings. It's a kind of giving psychological healings to child, to any family member. That is not the case in Europe. In Europe, we indeed have larger, psychological problems now than before. Apart from that, the European society is individualistic. Indian society is a collective society. So in these areas, I think we can look at the problems, the positives and the negatives as well.
Okay.
I understand that the government of India tried its best, but I think what Professor Ujjwal also said, I do agree with this examination system. I I am sorry, because as a teacher, I would not do this like this. But of course, they had a lot of problems, because in India alone, in 10th grade or 12th grade, I understand that millions and millions of students are, participating at once. You know, so this is a huge problem in India. And I think,
Okay.
the message that Professor Ujjwal also gave is a duty, the moral, and ethical duty of everyone, and even more of the opposition leaders, and family members. Anyway, in India, the families are doing everything for their children, when it comes to education. This you don't see in Germany or in Europe. In Europe, even the parents, if they are rich and they don't want to finance a child, they won't do.
Okay.
The child gets, is financed from the state, of course, but it is not the same.
Okay. So,
So,
so yeah,
so I
please.
want to say that there are cases, there are many things that we can learn from India, and I think many things, especially in modernizing India. India can learn a lot from Europe and West, especially this system of mugging. I think that you just learn at your what is written in the book, and you just write that in your paper or examination, and that's all. This is not, I mean, exactly the purpose of education. You need to you need to have character building. You need to make people, the students, independent. You need to make them to think. They think themselves. They come up with their ideas. They implement their ideas, and not whatever is produced or given to or fed them. I think this is a huge problem that I see in Indian education system. Thank
Okay.
you.
So Rakesh Tiwari ji, something just you want to add? Unmute yourself, please.
I
Please, thank
think
you.
the professor who came here, I think he's gone. Is he gone?
I think maybe connectivity problem. I thought
Okay, good
he's
enough.
not.
Okay,
Okay,
no,
yeah,
no issue. He has raised
yeah.
some very important points. Let me say this. As I said in the beginning, that our educational educational departments and ministers, they failed. They actually, this was a time, in my understanding, my humble understanding, to utilize this time, whosoever they are at the top level in the ministry, in anywhere, be it in Canada, to plan for the future education system. uh,
But
at
but
least
but,
if they are
but, but
doing
there,
it,
there but there is
let
just
me just
you
complete this
mentioned.
thought.
Please,
Let me
please,
just complete this thought. So this
please.
supposed to, this within this 2 years period of time, when we know that this is going to, this is happening, and you are at the top, and you are evaluating, that we, I mean, even the common person understood that after the first wave, second wave will come, after second wave, third wave will come, this will continue. So to look at the future, to look at our children's a kind of education policy which can be brought together in the benefit of children's, and somehow comprehensive package system should have been brought in, but I'm unable to see that. That's number one. The another thing which that professor has mentioned, I'm forgetting his name, and I agreed with that. Lot of children were just thrown in the pond. Like now you have, because they were forced that they have to study. They have to study. So a 5-year old, 6-year old on the mobile, while we were before teaching all the children, don't touch mobiles. This is not good for your mind. This is not good for your eyes. This is not good for this and that. And now all of a sudden that's what their life is there, and they have been extremely
There are
pressured,
contradictions. Just I think you have to put
extremely they have been pressured upon.
but
And
contradiction also.
education
Just
policy
yeah,
related
yeah.
to the COVID situation and upcoming future, I'm unable to see yet. Thank you.
Okay, Vandana ji, just Tiwari ji also focusing, and Dr. Bhatt, just how the education system, either in India and US and wherever, that is not the proper in a balanced mode. How to be balanced one? There is so many positive things also, as well negative also, as you already just mentioned. Just put on the laptop, and children and the students are playing. Put off the camera. that is, they are taking the privileges of the right of privacy, right to privacy. So that is so many problems. So how do you just my last question to all? How do you think? Just how you give the percentage? This is the digital learning and this digital education is good or bad? Just last question to all.
Pandemic, nobody was aware of it. It came all of a sudden, all around the world. Nobody was prepared. And at that very time, it was, I somewhat agree to Rakesh ji that they should start working on it, because at that very time when you have a crisis, you cannot just, because you don't even think about it like that, we have to, because this is not gone. This can come back again. If not COVID, something else. Number two, they have to have an alternate. But I would definitely like my future generation to get engaged physically more than digitally, because they do have to have
True.
more
Agreed.
digital. Because when we talk about as I was talking to somebody very interesting, Google gave free Chromebooks to the students in America on a pilot project, so that tomorrow when the kids grow up, they are not even aware of what the Windows has to do with it. So they start working with it, like, so everything has to be, there has to be checks and balances. Like Europe, in one context, they are more strong, their laws and all. In America, even they can shut down the Twitter account of a president and still can get away with that. So those kind of things, like, there has to be checks and balances. But I would definitely like more of physical, less of digital, because we have whole life to go digital. Thank you.
Okay, how just Dr. Rajesh, just how just think that this the digital teaching and learning and the student and teacher, how do you analyze good and bad and impact society?
Had to plan and think of uh, s- some. Hello.
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
Because of all these restrictions, we had to plan out something to reach to the children, their study and everything. Then definitely, this unconventional method of teaching, the digital method has come up. What Mr. Professor Choudhary told very nicely, that we have gained in 15 months. We didn't have got in last 15 years. So definitely, this cannot replace the formal teaching and education, everything. But definitely, till that period comes, then that children may go back to their school and have the formal education
So
which they had earlier. Till then, definitely, this is the at least method that at least they will get a very good thing, that continuity to the education is maintained. But till then, definitely, this digital education is very much valuable. We have learned lot of things, lot of methods. Professor Choudhary told us. Definitely, I was not aware also that these are the way of teaching nowadays. But definitely, everything may not continue later on. But very good things which we have learned during this pandemic, definitely it will continue even after pandemic, the way of teaching and everything, and many things like that. Definitely it
that
will
will be good.
help
Yeah.
for a better tomorrow.
Yeah. So the last take, Dr. Bhatt.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Well, I think, yes, I agree with other panelists that we learned a lot. And I think not only the children, but also the parents and the teachers all learned something new. And this is a kind of, some, new adaptation to the future, I think, because in future we will have to do more and more with technology, definitely. And of course, but this is not the alternative to the physical classes. I mean,
Okay.
the physical
Yeah.
classes is a
Yeah.
must, because
Cannot be, yeah.
it is important for our socialization. It is important for student and for
Yeah.
teacher, at even at kindergarten level and even at higher. I mean, as I said in my class, where I have students who are BA and MA, it is exactly the same. So I look forward that governments around the globe will work on it. And as I think Tiwari ji and Professor Choudhary also mentioned, and Dr. also mentioned that it is better that the governments and not only the central government, it's actually the duties and responsibilities of in India and also in Germany of the state governments. They need to update themselves and they need to prepare themselves better for better tomorrow. And also there need to be some kind of balance. And I would also request through your channel now that in India it would be highly appreciable if the government concentrate on kind of working on the public schools, not public schools in terms of India, but I'm talking about governmental schools in India. They need to upgrade them like the public schools in India, because in your
they are upgrading. They are trying to upgrade.
because
them
this
so
is
many
a huge
ways.
problem, and
Yeah.
the students, those who visit these governmental schools,
Yeah.
they are always at the negative side. So
Okay.
a lot must be done and need to be done. Thank you.
Nicely, so nice that you are left at one subject just to be discussed in our latest program, the how the government school and the public school, how just they are doing good or bad for the society. So, sir, nicely we have discussed the impact of corona and our education system and the teachers and the students as well the parents. There are so many negatives, good good things, and bad thing also, so many positivity also, so negative also. But as Dr. Bhatt said, and last, and Professor Ujjwal Choudhary and Rakesh Tiwari ji, Vandana ji, how just mentioned the physical education as and the, education in the physical format is a no substitute, and that is the personal interaction. Students just interact with the teachers, and on the online there are so many restrictions also. So, but now we are passing through the corona phase. Hopes, pray to God, corona will be lasted like anything. Wuhan coronavirus, the China coronavirus should be go with the all uh, bad things. Thanks to you, just you attended this a special show, Corona and Education, and next we'll meet again. And thanks to all and who attended this program. And just watch Global Governance News TV, share and subscribe for just promote the nationalist movement for the media and for the global media. Thank you very much. Jai Bharat.
Okay.